if we can step back from this situation for a second, or can we use this as an example, like of how Grindstone operates? Let's say there's devastation, like there is. Can you walk us through how Grindstone reacts to that step by step? Like, you already knew this was coming, but you didn't know it would be this big, I think, right? And so you were starting to prepare. What do you do?
So, Grindstone has a board of directors, right? We're, again, nationally registered 501c3 not-for-profit. So we have a board of directors, of which I'm the president of Grindstone. So I'm the chief executive of Grindstone, but we have a board of directors. And so when we see a potential threat, we're always tracking potential threats, hurricanes, tornadoes. Ryan Hall, y'all, is a YouTuber, right? And like, my blood pressure goes up when Ryan Hall goes live. I'm like, oh no, here it goes, right? And so when we're tracking threats, and when there's a possible deployment for Grindstone, meaning that an area has been affected, then we go to the board. We say, hey, are we up is the question. Up means, are we going? And it does not require unanimous consent legally per our bylaws. It requires a majority. However, because we all respect and love one another, it's always unanimous. Because if somebody on the board throws a flag on the play, I want to know what they're thinking, what they're feeling. And these are all people of deep faith. They're all in the same faith as us. And so we're all operating in the spirit. And so we come to a consensus as a board. Then we send out recon. That's the first thing we do, is we usually put out 2 trucks with usually 2 to 4 people in them to go see, go put your eyes on it, and then report back what you're seeing. While they're doing recon, they will locate a place to use as a FOB, a forward operating base. And then that's got to have certain characteristics, right? I need the ability to sleep people out of the weather. I need the ability to park vehicles and equipment. I need the ability to control access and egress from a security standpoint, because looting is a big deal in a lot of these places. And then ideally, we can either provide our own power generation, or the power is still on there, and ideally there's water running. If not, we can provide our own water and make the water run there, because I got to have the ability to sleep people and feed people and park equipment and people at this site. So once we have a FOB established, then the next thing we do is we put out what's called an operational order. Because now I have an address that I can address people to. And then we use our Grindstone email list. You know, it's very important you sign up for the email list at Grindstone. We don't spam you. We don't solicit. We're not asking for donations. That's how we commo with our people, is via the email list. I will put together the op org, who, what, when, where, why, how, be in this place at this time, bring these things, expect this, here's the situation on the ground, here's our priorities, here's the stuff that we need, I need you to bring with you, here's the stuff that the community needs, etc., etc. That goes out in an op org, and then people start rolling in. We usually get responses to that email that say, hey, this is Bill in Jackson, Tennessee, and I'm coming, and I'm bringing 3 guys with me and a skid steer and some chainsaws. Awesome. That's a saw team. And then on the back end, we have a spreadsheet that we use, kind of like a Gantt chart, that basically is overlapping timelines of who's going to be where when. And I can see the gaps that we're going to have in our personnel. Like, maybe we have saw teams, but we don't have logistics personnel, or we need a med person, or we need medics during this time. And then we can kind of onesie twosie go out to the Grindstone people and say, hey, we need a doctor, or we need a nurse, or we need an EMT for this time, or it's looking like in 2 weeks we're going to need more heavy equipment because the equipment that we have is rotating out and going home. Who wants to bring more? And then very specifically, what we look for with Grindstone, our targets, as we call them, are the people who were barely getting by before the storm, who last week they didn't know how they were going to buy groceries, and this week literally have nothing. And my heart breaks for everybody. But if you're doing okay in life, you've got some insurance, if there's, you lost part of your roof, but your house is still there, and insurance is going to handle it, and you're going to spend a few weeks at the Holiday Inn, but it's going to be okay, I'll help you. I have nothing against helping you, but you are not our ideal candidate. Our ideal candidate are the people who had no idea how they were going to get through last week. And this week they have nothing. And that's who we look for. We are 100% pro bono. We don't take a dime from the homeowner. We don't take a dime from the municipality. We don't take a dime from the state government. And we don't take a dime from the federal government. And there are a lot of 501c3s out there. Nonprofit does not mean that they don't have revenue. And the way that they fund themselves, we don't do this, but the way that they fund themselves is, Luke, they solicit you to come and volunteer your time. And you do. And you think you're doing a good thing. And you are. But what they don't tell you is that there's a form from FEMA that organization is filling out with your name and the number of hours that you were on site. And they want to get as many people out there volunteering as they can, because that form, every hour of every day that they have somebody, air quote, on site, they bill FEMA for that. And so you're volunteering your time, but you're actually putting U.S. taxpayer dollars through the Federal Emergency Management Agency into that organization without them telling you about it. And that is unequal weights and measures. That's bearing false witness, and we don't do that. So we don't bill FEMA for our time, and we also don't solicit your time and your donations and then, on the front end and then on the back end go over here and bill the government for it. And what that allows us to do is we are beholden to no man. I don't care what FEMA thinks or the Emergency Management Association of the state or the county thinks. I'm here to help. And because I have national authority, I'm federally registered, I can basically do whatever the hell I want to do. And what I want to do is love people, help people, and make my creator smile. That's what I want to do. Not get 1,000 people out here that don't know what they're doing so that I can bill, 10,000 hours a day back to FEMA at $22 an hour. Well, guys, we made $250,000 today, but we didn't do anything. We didn't help anybody. It's not about turning a profit. It's not about revenue. It's about being the hands and feet. And we have gotten everything we need and most of what we want every single time we've ever deployed with Grindstone, because our God is God. I don't worship the federal government. I worship Elohim.
Wow. My gosh.